I could look at this all day. That is Resin Art Illusion. It's so exciting the way that moves. Right, we are back with quite possibly the craziest optical illusion in resin that I've ever seen. And this one goes out to a viewer, Lord Squeak. About 3 or 4 months ago, you may remember, we made a smaller version of this. Now, the viewer, Lord Squeak, recommended inverting the face for a more holographic look. And I've tried this with UV resin as a trial run, and it is absolutely crazy. Now, I don't recommend doing something on this size with UV resin because you can run into a lot of bubble issues and curing issues. So we're going to be doing this one with epoxy. So the issue I had at the time is that I couldn't invert the face, even this small one, inside my regular cabochon mold because it just stuck out too much. It's okay the right way around, but when you invert it, it just wouldn't work. But now we have these new molds from Little Windows. Fran from Little Windows, if you're watching this, please don't tell me off. I have cut, yeah, I've cut the larger molds apart. Please don't tell me off. I almost said please tell me off. You can if you want. I can still use them. I just, for a different project, I just needed that to fit in my vacuum chamber, which I also don't recommend you do because the resin can bubble over. Anyway, it's a different story. So yeah, you get lots of different size ovals, and also we get the 30 by 40, which is in our regular mold. But we're going to be using this big one, which I can now invert my faces in. So it's a really simple technique. This should work with most 3D molds as long as you do it correctly, but don't quote me on that. I can't promise it. So what we're going to do first to begin with is I'm just using one of my nail powders. Interference powders will work. I presume mica powders will work. I don't know, but this is what I used in my trial run, and it really is crazy. So I'm just going to dust the whole inside of my face. These molds are super cheap. Again, I'll put them in the description box below. And the Little Windows, of course, I have a 15% discount on any of their products, also in the description box below, there if you need it. So that's it, it's that simple. I'm going to be using the Let's Resin Daniel Cooper collab resin for this. I'm just going to mix up enough. We're not going to fill this right up because if we do, we are going to have issues. Even in that bigger cabochon mold, we are going to have issues making it fit because the nose will stick out. We don't want that. So my resin is mixed. I'm just going to pour that, but I'm going to leave a good 3 or 4 millimeters from the top of the mold just to give me a little bit of space to play with when we are going to the next stage. And with this mold, always check around the nose area for trap bubbles, but don't disturb the powder that you put onto the mold because it will leave a scratch mark. So I'm going to go and pop this on the heat mat and speed it up. Right, our face is now cured and the powder has bonded to it really nicely. I don't think that's a bubble. No, it's not. Okay, so on to the next step. I'm going to mix up some more epoxy for the cabochon, and then we're going to invert this inside. Okay, so I just ran my resin through my vacuum chamber. I've got another cup on the side as well because I'm going to need more than 30 mil. The key to this is you definitely do not want any bubbles because they are going to stand out like a sore thumb. So now I can pour my resin and just give it a quick look over just to make sure there's no bubbles. You can see some tiny micro bubbles where I've just poured it into the mold. Just going to wait for those to rise and then pop them. And what I'm going to do is keep this clear because I haven't tried this with a background yet. So I want to show you the effect, and then what I'll probably do is just play around with a background afterwards. So I'm not going to fill it all the way up, but I am going to fill it quite full. because it's going to overspill into the bezel area. Now I can take the face, and this is probably the hardest part, because we need to put the face in this way, and you're at risk of bubbles being trapped inside or on the back. So I'm just going to insert it face down. Then you can see that big bubble stuck in the eye there. I'm not worried about that at the moment. Just bring any of the larger bubbles to the surface, pop those, and then we can flip it. Watch, I'm probably going to get some bubbles in this, but you can take a bit more time. So it's overspilt, it doesn't matter. And there we go. Hopefully there's no bubbles underneath there now, and I can just work on the bubbles that are on the face area. So this will be the finished orientation, face up, which is going to give us the illusion. Now I can just top this up and wait for it to cure. I'm going to keep coming back to it. Well, I'll come back to it once in about 15 minutes just to check for any surface bubbles. As always, massive shout out to my channel members, anyone who's bought me a coffee or a super thanks, and to all my subscribers. Thank you very much. So if you look here, let me move my mask. You don't want to see, the reflection is on purpose. The light is key. You don't want to see the tip of that nose popping out from the surface of the resin, because that will ruin the effect. So that's why we need to do the face fairly shallow. You see some surface bubbles there. I'm going to wait again 15 minutes and come back and pop those. So once I'm happy the surface bubbles are gone, the great thing again about Franz molds is that the actual boxes that they come in are great dust protectors. So now it's just a waiting game. Right, so the good news is I persevered with the smaller one, and I just managed to get it into our usual cabochon mold, but I could only fill it up to just by the eye line there, and I had to sand the back down until I just kept putting it in and making sure the nose, I mean the nose did stick up a little bit, but I just dripped drip by drip UV resin until the nose was covered, so it's slightly domed on the back. And what I'm going to do is I've sanded this one down, and I'll show you the dipping of this one shortly. It's incredible. Right, so for the smaller one, let me move my mask, it's riding up my face. Watch this, it's absolutely insane. So this is again just my Lex Resin UV resin, same resin that I've used in the video. Well, the same same UV resin I use for these pieces, but watch the way this face moves in the resin. It's crazy. See that? That is absolutely mental. Look at the depth. It's like the head is actually moving around inside the piece. That's crazy. I could look at this all day. That is Resin Art illusion. Okay, we're all done. I've already started to peel around the edges. I put this on my heat mat. I'll tell you what, I do not miss having to poke my resin to see if it's done yet. I mean, this is still a bit soft. It's coming up for 7 PM and I just, today's been a long day. I don't think I'm going to be able to get around to backing this one yet, but I have got another one that I did make with UV resin that I've backed just to show you. But as always, give the video a thumbs up, drop me a comment. If you haven't subbed, hit that button for me. It is free. I'm really worried because this is still warm. I don't want to ruin it. Oh, I might peel it out off camera. And then we'll do the flip afterwards. Okay, it's out. So first of all, here is the result of the one that I dipped. Just a black background on that one. But it really is crazy. Definitely want to play around with different shapes and see what we get with this. It is so cool. Right, this one. Sorry I didn't get time to finish it off. I did have every intention to decorate the back, but I just want to go home. I hope you can appreciate that. I might do it and then post a picture on the community tab so you can see it finished, but are you ready? So as soon as you get to here, you start seeing the effect. I mean, kind of here, you can see a reflection. Can you see the reflection of the face in the back? It's like two illusions in one. It's like it's looking into a mirror. But depending on the angle, the face moves around inside. So Lord Squeak, I'll try and tag you in this. I haven't seen your name pop up much on my channel, so you may not be a regular, but thank you very much for that comment. That is crazy. So I'm glad that we could do it on this size as well. Of course, I need to finish off the back. I need to file that down where I had my toothpick in. But what an awesome looking pendant that would be. Crazy. Right, so this one I did a bigger UV resin, and like I mentioned, you can run into trouble with this. I had some bubbles I had to drill into, and I infilled it and tried to cover it with nail powder, but it just didn't work very well. But again, you can just see a reflection in the back, like a ghostly mirror. But again, it's crazy the way this face moves around inside. It may not be your cup of tea, but I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I hope you did too. Right, I will see you for the next one. That's magical. Bye for now. Oh, without anything in the background, just as it is. Need to show that as well. It's very, very ghostly. Look at that. It's so exciting the way that moves. Right, yeah, I'm going home. I will see you for the next one. Oh, bye for now.